Last year in August, I made a video called The Korean Masquerade, in which I discovered a Korean show named Cholcar, in which there was a character in this particular series that had an uncanny resemblance to Masquerade. Well, a mask and blonde hair is really nothing to point fingers at. It's just the fact that this character underneath the mask was actually a girl is definitely something that what caught my attention. The idea of this is that she would disguise herself as this other character and act completely different to her normal personality, was so that she could participate in the car racing that the series represents and advertises for. I didn't think too much about it in the original video, and I didn't really go into it because I didn't really know much about it. There wasn't a lot of information at the time. It also wasn't really anything special. The transformation trope in anime is as old as time, really. There's nothing setting it apart aside from a mask and blonde hair. I've seen this before, really. Recently, I began doing more research on it, trying to figure out who made this weird show and what happened to it, because recently, as of, I think the beginning of this year, the channel that was hosting Cholcar has now become Charging Top Spinner. Beyblades.
3, 2, 1. Charging! Charging! Shoot!
Let's fight an epic battle, face off and spin the metal. No time for doubt now, no place for backing down.
With Beyblade X coming out soon, I had first thought this was a mockbuster company. The most famous mockbuster company on the internet is the Asylum, a movie house which has created, I'd almost say, parodies of movies that you've recognized. I'm honestly impressed with how many they've made and how bold they are. It's kind of funny. Okay, Cholcar, I'm ready for you. Tell me your secrets. 2020 Cholcar, all rights reserved. Okay, let's do the... Hey, I recognize that!
Ultra Bakugan were unilaterally loved and helped people get on board with Baku cores, and they totally were not taken from turning mech hard. Lawsuit? What lawsuit?
No! To summarize the article, Spin Master engaged a lawsuit with Cholcar and its parent company Mattel, saying that the toys infringed on Spin Master's patent copyright to a transforming creature coming into contact with a magnet. They ultimately lost the lawsuit, saying that there was no similarities between the two. And I can perfectly see why Spin Master sued. The similarities are downright awkward.
Set up Mechard! Mechanimal, go! Rock blast!
Is it possible, with Cholcar's history with Spin Master, they took a recognizable character from their very popular Bakugan IP and stuck it into their Cholcar racing show? That is entirely possible! Also, because Masquerade has not been any merch releases from this decade, Cholcar was basically able to brawler nap him unopposed.
Remember this JPEG from 2008? Well, here it is now!
This next part of the video is going to do a complete 180 to the original topic, and I promise you there's a reason. Me researching Cholcar led to me finding this Korean information, which led to me falling down this rabbit hole, and I'm a dumb American. I'm surprised I got this far as is, but I found some interesting stuff about Bakugan. The Korean wiki Namu is where I originally began my investigation into Cholcar. As I was translating Chris's page, an interesting section of text appeared in the bottom. Like most character wikis, there's a trivia section in the very bottom, usually containing some factoids. And the first section I just so happened to translate had something that caught me off guard. It appears to be an homage to Shooting Bakugan's Masquerade. Can we hold the phone for a second? Like, what Really? This is out of nowhere. A show from 2008 being mentioned in a show from 2020. Like, I thought I was the only silly little nerd out there that thought this was similar. But no, this is a thing. This is real, guys. Also, what does this say? He is a retractionary figure of the main character? That's not the right word. Wrong masked brawler, guys.
Let's just say I'm someone who is vehemently against the idea of humans and Bakugan living together. I have a vision for an ideal world, Kuso, and you and your friends had absolutely no part in it.
Wise man, do you know who Villock is? With me so far? Good! Now this is where things get interesting. Chris's page actually has a link to Masquerade, and the first sentence I just so happened to translate said, the dubbed version's name is Kaiser, and he's one of the few characters to be localized along with Dano. So, Dan and Masquerade aren't Dan and Masquerade in the Korean version.
No.
I mean, I've seen localization before. The Arabic dub, which I actually talked about, I think a year or so back, had some localization in it as well. The outfits worn by the female cast. So I was familiar with this. Obviously because I'm a dumb American who eats hot dogs every 4th of July and sleeps with a gun under my pillow, I have no idea what these guys are saying. Might as well be learning Chinese. Heck, that may even be easier.
What's the number for 911? How do I know?
But I think I can kind of hear the replaced names for Dan and Masquerade.
하지만 소개할게. 내 이름은 단호야. 단호.
네 이름은?
내 이름은 카이저다.
By my original observation, I had first thought this was just the Japanese sound effects mixed in with the English script, as is a few other dubs. Upon further inspection, actually doing some more watching, I actually realized that it's possible that this may have the Japanese dialogue and i.e. story in mind, as we also get to see Shun's mom's death play out on screen, whereas in the English dub, it was heavily censored. I almost feel bad for the jerk. Almost. This also has their very own version of Psychic Lovers We Are #1 Battle Brawlers used for the Japanese opening. But, you can barely hear the singer in the background because the sound effects are just bloated everywhere. I didn't edit or touch any of this. Unlike previous times where I've translated different titles, and I'm 98% sure Google Translate is just being a good old troll, the show actually got a title change, and you can actually hear it in the song.
We are #1 shooting Bakugan. We are #1 shooting Bakugan. Power Bakugan, style time and go. Bakugan,
I'm sorry, okay? This version is just an assault to my ears. The second opening actually got the same treatment and is not as bad. I can't find the opening songs for season 2 and 3, but I'm going to assume they got the same treatment. But I did find the ending for season 2! One thing that confuses me. Why did you rename Masquerade to Kaiser? Kaiser is German for Emperor. Why would you do that? The reason for this in Godzilla Final Wars is to show that Kaiser Ghidorah is superior over the previous line of Ghidorahs, Emperor over King. You'd think that would be Naga's name almost.
It's the Infinity Core against the Silent Core, in the ultimate battle where the prize is control of the universe, and I shall be victorious!
Perhaps this was done is because that he is the leader of the top-ranked brawlers that he brainwashed, and he is the #1 ranked player, but both of those don't work in the long run. The top-ranked were freed from their mind control, and Masquerade being the #1 ranked player isn't brought up as often as you think, and it's not really used in the overall story. It gets brought up once or twice and then dropped. Why the name was actually changed, we'll probably never know. Even though Chris looks like Masquerade, this is an Alice situation. That's not her usual behavior.
안녕. 내 진짜 이름은 크리스틴이야. 만나서 반가워.
She's actually calm, quiet, and soft-spoken, and is highly trained in aristocratic ways. A true first-class passenger. We see her playing a piano very skillfully in episode 7. I'm sure they talk about it, but I don't speak Korean.
실력도 수준급이고 피아노까지 잘 치고
또 허접하고 피아노도 못 치니까 비교가 되겠지.
She's like Marucho. Lots of servants, maids, own personal butler, is capable of bringing in things and transporting the gang around. We even see in one episode they're in this extra-looking mansion, and this is my observation, but it appears to be in New Zealand. There's a lot of rolling hills, there's a beach they're at, there's lots of sheep. That's definitely a big sign that it's in New Zealand. I think episode 7 tries to establish that even though Chris is surrounded in this perfect life and she can have almost everything she asks for, she isn't capable of expressing herself. She's trapped in her own high society ways. I don't know if it was specifically her family or the people in charge of raising her and upbringing her that disapproved of the model car racing. Her butler is the one that gave her the costume to allow her to perform these wild antics without the watchful eyes of the household and acting a completely different character and, according to a translation, playing the part of a male role. From the quiet, calm girl that we were presented with at the beginning of episode 7 to seeing this wild, snarky character when the actual racing started is a very good, jarring contrast. Another translated bio states that she speaks harshly, has a sharp mind, and radiates explosive energy during races, with a quote I translated from the Wiki saying, "My nickname is the King of Cornering. Let me show you my skills." Also, another thing I discovered on the Wiki, when Jinhanju is getting reprimanded by her parents for playing with boy stuff, Chris dropped this line.
말씀이 지나치시네요. 여자아이가 조이카를 한다고 해서 문제될 게 뭐가 있죠? 조이카 승부에는 여자 남자 상관없다고요.
Foreshadowing anyone?
날 기다리고 있었는가?
And with that, friends, this badly structured video about me ranting about some Korean stuff must come to an end. There's really nothing else I can say about Bike Cholcar, aside from translating an entire Wikipedia. I feel like I'm someone looking in through a window on all this. I can't give a complete criticism on it because I don't understand half of this, but at the same time, when I do try to understand, I end up getting awkward translations and missed context. Language barrier aside, the show is kind of impressive. For a quiet little Korean animation team, it looks very nice. The characters have interesting designs. They're very colorful, as in a typical children's show. The CG of the cars moving and bouncing along the tracks, that's very nice. It's smooth. Occasionally, the 2D characters holding the 3D model cars gets a little awkward, and it looks like they're not holding them right. They're hidden behind fingers, or they're at an awkward angle. But beyond that, I think it's very nice.
너의 큰 매력 인정해주겠다.
It's just a cute little kids anime. Harmless. Or not? Look at that! She was a human bowling pin! Who are these guys? Are they race car bullies? That's what it looks like. Why does this guy remind me of Shark from Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal? That's okay. I'm sure the main character should be able to straighten these jerks out. What is going on here? These are the bad guys. This masked dude is their boss. And they've been cheating at races. And that's not good. And this dude needs to cheat in the races so he can win the prize money in order to take care of his sick sister?
Bakugan battle, this ultimate fight, I will win now!
I love it! The bad guys are eventually beaten and befriended, and Masked Dude's boss has had enough of him, and he decides to bring in his own team. Only these guys' cars are special, because they have...
One
by one, they pick off the cheaters effortlessly, and then decide to go after our heroes. Chris receives a calling card challenge and is literally asked...
Meet me at the abandoned factory at 4 o'clock.
You can't make this stuff up! And with telling none of her friends, she accepts and gets four-wheel drived on.
That has gotta hurt!
Yushin receives an ultimatum via Zoom call, and a match with the bullies is quickly established. While he tries his best, his partner Cholcar Jetstormborn is unfortunately damaged during the race. And no joke, this is how they end Season 1. Even though the Masquerade design is something only nostalgic Bakugan fans would recognize, it doesn't stick around long. Shortly into Season 2, Chris reveals her identity in front of a large crowd of racing fans and seemingly retires from Cholcar racing, along with being a walking lawsuit.
Oh my god!
Bike Cholcar is an obscure children's toy anime, borrowing a character design from an even more obscure children's anime.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
The Bakugan fandom can do what they want with this information. I'm just the messenger. But personally, I am interested in seeing what Cholcar has planned for the future. Who knows how far Charging Top Spinner is going to end up or last. But hey, we have our own version of Beyblade. Why not them? Thank you all for watching and sticking to the end of this gigantic long video. Thank you so much.